Asia, how do you get your teeth so white? Please tell us. All you're gonna need is baking soda, purple food coloring. So you're just gonna put 3 drops. Scrub your teeth with it for like 2 minutes. Put the baking soda on your toothbrush with the purple dye. And go like this. I put too much baking soda. That was really nasty. But yeah, that's it.
She put what in her mouth? We've really come to the point now that we're just putting straight up purple food coloring on your teeth, huh? First off, I know food coloring is food safe, but is that good for you? I don't know. Probably not. And 2, baking soda I really don't have too big of a deal with. It has a pretty low RDH, or relative dentin abrasion, so it shouldn't harm your teeth too much, but I definitely wouldn't be doing it like 3 or 4 times a week. But the real thing I want to talk about is actually her teeth. In fact, she was like, oh, my teeth look so white and things like this, when actually they're not white because they're white. But Bentist, that makes 0 sense. If you really take a look at the picture at the very end when she's smiling her teeth, you notice something interesting about her teeth, that it's kind of like yellowy with little white splotches all over the tooth, and that is what we call fluorosis. This is what fluorosis of a tooth looks like. And so if you've ever seen somebody with the white splotchiness all over their teeth and it wasn't due to bad things like the braces squares or anything like that, it's because they had a lot of fluoride in their water growing up. The reason why you have fluoride in toothpaste is it takes your hydroxyapatite crystals that your teeth are made out of, and it takes something out and makes them into fluorapatite, which is actually stronger than the regular tooth enamel. Now this does 2 things. 1, it makes your teeth superhumanly strong. Like, you normally never get cavities if you have heavy fluorosis on your teeth. The other issue is it makes your teeth look a little funny, because now you got little white splotches and stuff all over your teeth. And those little white splotches, when you dry them out or scrape on them and do things, they get whiter for a little bit and they kind of go away. So more than likely this person didn't really whiten her teeth. Her teeth just look naturally white from the fluorosis scars all over her teeth. So is purple food coloring and baking soda gonna magically whiten your teeth? No. I still stand to the fact that carbamide peroxide and hydrogen peroxide are the only 2 options you should be looking at to whiten your teeth. Other than that, it's all about abrading your enamel away, and we do not want that. There is always one that likes to watch the world burn. But for real though, why is it always 9 out of 10? Who is this dentist that just hates the world? Probably the one that flossed me so hard I bled last time. But anyways, I don't even care about that. It was just the gagging that reminded me of a story of probably one of the worst experiences in my dental career. You see, when you're in dental school, you're trained on a lot of different things. Regular, pediatric dentistry, oral surgery, all the stuff. And we had a kids clinic where I had to actually end up taking an impression of this kid to make a retainer for him. And if you're old enough, you're probably gonna remember taking these goopy impressions. Nowadays you guys have these fancy scancy scanners that don't do anything crazy, but back in the day we had to use these goopy impression material in our mouth that were terrible. And if you don't know, you have to mix this stuff up, you have to put it in there, and it has about a minute working time. You put it in, you got to wrap these lips all around, move it all moldable, to let it sit for about 30 seconds until it completely hardens, and then you're good to go. Now the problem is people have, you know, gag reflexes, and kids, they don't have very good control of their gag reflexes. And so I go in there and I put this thing in there, and all of a sudden the kid just goes, and at that point, you know that something bad is about to happen. In fact, I know there's tons of different dental assistants and dentists out there that have experienced the same thing, so comment down below if you remember. But anyways, this kid proceeds to just start vomiting up everywhere, all over himself and the chair and me and everything else. Now you would say, Bentist, that's so gross. You probably just ripped that impression out of there and cleaned everything up, didn't you? No. You gots to see it through, my boy. And the reason why you gots to see it through is because if you take it out, you will ruin the impression. And guess what? You still have to get the impression. So you're gonna have to do it again and cause the pain twice. So yeah, literally what they teach you and what we have to do is basically hold it in no matter what. And even if they're throwing up and everything, you just have to hold it and be like, ah! And you basically just have to fight through it until it's over. Luckily we have buckets and stuff, so if we know they're a gagger, we'll put it underneath them and let them kind of throw up into it. But that time I did not have one. But let's just say that I use digital scanning now for a reason. Okay, this confused me for a little bit there. And it looks like you guys got confused too. Said, my brain did not process this fast enough, and my brain ain't braining. I like this one too. My jaw dropped. Literally. Well, the real question is, what the heck is going on here, Bentist? Well, after looking into it, it looks like this is a Hollywood green screen effect, actually. So if you look at it, the bottom jaw, it's kind of hard to tell, but the bottom jaw is actually a fake jaw. It's a prosthetic. And you can see her real jaw is the green one with X's on there, and they posted that out out of there, so it's actually a totally fake movie magic. That being said, this whole jaw drop actually can happen in real life if you dislocate your jaw. That's right, your jaw is only here in a ball and socket joint, and it opens and closes when you open your mouth. But if you get into a wreck or completely break the jaw, that jaw can fall completely loose, and you would look exactly like this exorcist lady. Now from there, you would probably need heavy surgery, and they'd have to put that back in there. They'd have to tie down these ligaments to hold your jaw back into place. A bunch of different stuff like that. But let's just hope that you never have to look like this, okay? Unless, of course, you know, you're a movie star or something.
I wanna go home. I wanna go.
That's a baby with teeth. Well, almost teeth. In fact, those two little lumps that you see on both sides is actually the central incisors, which actually come in really quickly in a baby. And the reason why that baby is probably moody is because they're going through a thing called teething, where all this eruption is taking place and pushing through the gum tissue, causing a lot of sensitivity. Now, a lot of times you can give a baby little cold binkies and things like that to kind of work on that type of stuff, and that'll kind of help until those teeth come through. Now, another thing that's really interesting about this that a lot of people are talking about is actually what they call a lip tie. In fact, a lot of people in the comments are talking about, they're saying, definitely get that lip tie checked out ASAP. My daughter had a stage 2 lip tie and they never mentioned it. It caused a lot of problems when she was older. And another one said, my daughter had a lip tie as well. It was corrected at 5 years for speech issues. Now what they're talking about is the upper frenulum, which is this little kind of dangly thing that hangs down here, and it connects from your lip to your upper jaw. Now some people's connect down further and further and further, and the farther they go, they can actually get in the way of the two teeth, creating a gap in the middle of your two front teeth. Now not only this, but it can cause speech issues, it can obviously cause that gap that we talked about, and it can just be painful. Now I definitely would talk to your dentist about this, because if you cut it too early, what that causes is that to form a fibrous scar there, and in the future if you ever have a gap, we can't close it because of that giant scar there. What we actually tell people to do is actually leave it completely alone unless there is pain or speech issues. The reason for this is actually because if it creates a gap between their teeth, we need to orthodontically close that gap with braces. Once that gap is fully closed, then we can cut the frenulum and that scar tissue can form. Hope that helps.
Pussy, he think he the batter. We call him Elon Musk.
She did what to her retainers? No self-respecting person would ever put gemstones on their retainers. I mean, who would even think of something like that? Oh wait. But for real though, Bentist, is this safe for my retainers? And this is probably important to ask because a lot of you guys in the comments are saying, let me go get my dang retainers. I might actually wear them now. And the way I wish I had my retainers. So the question is this safe for your retainers? Well, probably not. That is, I mean, it's safe for your retainers. It's just the problem is with these little gems is they're only on there with super glue, okay? Or, you know, or nail glue or something like that. And they will eventually come off. And then you're gonna be left with just kind of a messy looking retainer. So as long as you're cool with just a little messy glue look. Also, I don't know if the long-term health effects of having acrylic glue in your mouth is safe or not, but my guess is probably not. So even though I don't recommend it though, if you do this, I would only do it to your top retainer because your lower retainer does bite into your lower retainer and will probably knock some of those rhinestones off. And maybe don't do as many as I did, maybe just one on a canine like she did.
Mr. Rice and Mr. Ref are club tied.
Holy wiggly teeth! And not only are they wiggly, it looks like you guys have some issues in the comments saying, I always dream like this when I sleep. I'm so scary. And I dream like this so often, it's scary at the same time. I'm kind of satisfied. What's up with people having these dreams about having loose teeth? But for real though, Bentist, what exactly is causing these teeth to be all wibbly jibbly? Well, I'll tell you, periodontal disease. You see, a lot of people think that they just have to protect their teeth from cavities from brushing. But in fact, there's a whole nother strain of bacteria that causes bone loss. That's why we tell you to floss, because if you don't clean between the teeth, that bacteria will live there and cause inflammation, making the bone dissolve downward. Think of it like a post in the ground. If it's covered all the way up by dirt and there's only a little bit sticking out, it's going to be hard to move that post. But if the dirt gets dug away lower and lower, and then 75% of the post is above ground, you can just walk over and tip it over. To avoid these things, you're going to need to floss. You're going to need to do something in between the teeth to get rid of that periodontal bacteria. Hope that helps.
I have retainers, check.
That is a pretty good idea, actually. I thought it was funny in the comments though. It said, why does everybody want braces so bad? Like, trust me, you don't. But that didn't stop other people to say, I need them. And where do you buy it? I need these, please. I'm not gonna lie. That's actually a really smart way. It's probably one of the best ways that I've seen to do fake braces. I was obviously probably the first person to make fake braces, and I did them like super glue on a retainer and all this type of stuff. But this is actually pretty smart because you don't see the plastic and it kind of is a custom wire across there. That's just basically an old school Holly retainer that they glued the brackets onto the wire wire themselves, so you can like take it in and out. And I guess technically if you had a Holly retainer, you could probably put fake braces on the Holly retainer to make it look like you still had braces, even though you had your retainer. It gets kind of confusing, but it could work. In the end, what camp are you guys in? Let me know down below. Are you team braces or are you team not braces? Let me know, because I'm personally partial to braces. I think they're pretty cool. Not only for the fact that I put the braces on, but at the end you get the Hollywood smile and you're happy for the rest of your life. And that's pretty cool. Until then, I guess you could just wear fake braces, retainers like this guy. Be surprised how true this really is. I will say, except for the whole like creepy stalkerish serial killer vibes, I don't think we give that off. But for real though, I will tell you that a lot of stuff goes on behind this mask. I mean, most of the time it has to do with you opening your mouth and it's so nasty and disgusting, or it smells bad, or we're doing a cavity filling or whatever, and we're just like pretty much like this the whole time, like. But I mean, I'm pretty glad that we have a mask on, to be honest. Another thing is you can't see a smile. And you know how many awkward times that I've been like smiling, talking to somebody, realizing that all they see is this, and they're just like, haha, yeah, cool. So you got to learn how to smile with your eyes, or else you look kind of weird. Another thing that's really awkward is when you sneeze in your mask, because then you sneeze into it, and then you can smell the rest of the sneeze until you throw away the mask and get a new one. It's an awkward situation for sure. But now you're definitely going to be thinking about this next time you have a dental appointment. I guarantee it. Those teeth don't look as white as they probably should. And it looks like you guys agree in the comments. You said, did they not brush their teeth once this whole time they had braces? And another person said, is this junk buildup normal with braces, or did they just not clean properly?
Well, what gives, Bentist? What is the reason why all these stains are everywhere?
Well, in fact, we actually see this a lot, and that's exactly what it is. It's staining. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're not taking care of their teeth and brushing. It just means that they're probably eating or drinking or doing something that causes stain on the teeth. We see this a lot in coffee drinkers. We see it in smokers. In fact, I've even seen things as crazy as having completely red staining from eating a ton of Takis. And while sometimes this can be caused by not brushing and flossing, that's not always the case. So even though it looks crazy when they got the braces off, I mean, this is what it looked like with all the brackets and the brownness around there, we just polish it off basically and get all that stain off there when the braces come off. Now this is the same thing for regular teeth without braces too. If you drink a lot of coffee or tea or smoke, you're gonna have stained teeth as well. In fact, it can get really bad. Here's a smoker's staining on the back of his teeth, and that's because nicotine actually reacts with the saliva molecules, causing all that brown staining. But as long as you brush your teeth and floss and try and limit staining beverages, or maybe drink a water after, you'll be just fine. Hope that helps. Well, that was dramatic, wasn't it? But for the one thing I need on my timeline today is a male model telling me he looks ugly with braces on. But for real though, Bentist, does people actually think that braces make you ugly? Well, maybe back in the day, but that's not really the case anymore. In fact, whenever I was a kid and I got braces on, I actually was the very first person in my grade to get braces, and I hated it. I felt like I didn't want to have them. It was nerdy at the time and all that type of stuff. But then by the end, everybody had braces, and I was sad to get them off because all the cool people had braces. I want to have braces too. In your generation, people love braces. They love to change the colors. They just love the look of them. I mean, people literally go so far to make fake braces to put them on to look like they've got braces. So I think the last thing you have to worry about is looking ugly with braces, because they're actually kind of cool now. I like to say that maybe I played a part in making braces cool again. But you know, in the end, you do have that Hollywood perfect smile at the end that you're gonna keep for the rest of your life. So that's pretty cool too. So no, braces do not make you ugly at all. In fact, they probably just make you the coolest person in school.
In case you ever wondered what oral thrush was like, let me show you. Cuts on your tongue, sores on your tongue, sores in your lips. Check out those gums. You can't get that white stuff off even if you brush. It's like pus. Also, check out all of my gums.
That is probably one of the worst things that anybody can get in their mouth. This is called oral thrush. It's super, super painful. It's basically a bacterial fungal growth of Candida albicans. And so basically it grows and takes over your entire mouth, causing a lot of different things. One, you can see the overgrowth of the whiteness there on her tongue. You get blisters and sores all over the place, up on your gum tissue. You can see all of those different things. it's pretty rough. This normally happens in infants that are like immunosuppressed. It can happen with people that use inhalers with certain steroids. It can happen for a bunch of different reasons. The things you're gonna have to do to actually fix this is you'll take an antifungal medication and that'll clear it up, hopefully. Until then, there is some like lidocaine type rinses that you can do to kind of numb the mouth. But it is not a fun one and I don't wish it on any of you guys.
Crazy curvy wavy big titties, little waist body. Crazy curvy wavy big titties, little waist body. Yada 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 yada.
What is that alien looking device in that dude's jaw? I don't know, but it looks very painful. And it looks like some of you guys in the comments are gonna say, okay, my teeth are suddenly okay now. I don't need braces anymore. And the person was even like, how does that happen to somebody's teeth? Well, even though you guys think that this is painful, it's actually really not painful at all. You see, this is what we call a rapid palatal expander. And for some people with severe crowding and narrowing of the arches, we have to expand out and try and get a little wider base of bone for us to get all the teeth in. And so if you look there, they have two metal bands in the back, and then they've soldered these wires that go up against the teeth, and then they have a little spinning thing in the middle that they're actually cranking. Every time you crank that, it will actually separate the two bones of the palate. If you didn't know, the roof of your mouth is actually two bones that are fused together, and when you're young, they're not fused anymore. So you can actually separate the entire two halves of your upper skull, which is pretty crazy. But every time you turn it, it moves it about 1/4 of a millimeter away, so very slowly. And it doesn't really feel like pain, but it will feel like a lot of pressure. And sometimes if those sutures are slightly fused together yet, but not all the way, you will hear a pop all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden a big gap will just open up between your teeth. It's pretty wild. But if we can get you early enough and we can do stuff like this, we can actually widen out the jaw, get everything in, and you can have a perfect, awesome smile without the need of jaw surgery. So even though it looks scary, I promise you it's not.
I can't take it anymore.
Talk about girl dinner? That's girl dinner. That, and for some reason you guys love ice cubes. And chips and queso. But I don't blame you on the chips and queso. I love that too. But anyways, what is it with girls and wanting to chew their nails off? My wife does it all the time as well. And guess what? It is just as harmful for your teeth as chewing on ice. Because it may be fun biting off all those little guys all the time, but they will in fact chip your enamel. And in some cases, really bad, they'll crack your tooth in half. That's what a tooth that's cracked in half looks like. And it's not fun because once you crack a tooth in half like that, that tooth is completely gone and they have to remove it completely. From there, you're gonna have to go get an implant and a crown, and those cost like $10,000 to $15,000, which if you think about it is like a lifetime worth of French manicures or square tips. I don't know what you guys call them these days. It's a lot of nails. But I don't know. Let me know down below in the comments, what do I need to do to get you girls to stop chewing on your nails? Because it seems like a nationwide problem. Maybe I need to come up with some edible nails or something. Maybe that's maybe some safe for braces nails. Until then, just try and refrain from it. Please, I'm trying not to have any more broken teeth out there.
Braces are the wrong solution for wonky teeth if you're still a teenager and could potentially make you look worse. Crowded teeth result from your jaw being too small for your teeth. Your palate and lower jaw will be narrow and likely recessed. Widening your palate and having proper forward growth will enhance your entire mid-face, leading to prominent cheekbones, a wide smile, and a good side profile.
Well, there's a lot to unpack here because some of it is true and some of it maybe not so much. The first thing that I would probably suggest is that he was saying that braces are not what you need to fix this, when in fact, they're exactly what you need to fix this. In fact, this is why we use palatal expanders when you're a kid. You see, your upper roof of your mouth is actually two bones that are joined together. And we can put this thing called an expander in the upper mouth, and when we crank it, it'll actually widen your upper jaw, allowing the bone to form and grow even further. This not only widens the jaw, but it also creates a giant gap in between, which we do have to fix with braces. If you don't have too narrow of an arch, we actually use these things called self-ligating brackets, and our wires are actually rather large, and we can actually pull and expand out your jaw over the time of treatment. This will give you that wide Hollywood smile from edge to edge that you've always wanted. Now, the big important thing here is we really want to do this while you're young and while you're in that teen stage, because you have growth. And not only can we expand with growth, but we can actually change the way that your jaw is shaped, front and back, actually saving you from jaw surgery. Also, to avoid a lot of these mid-face deficiencies and things like that, we don't take teeth out as much anymore, because if you take 4 teeth out and you bring everything back, that brings it back this way. We actually bring things outward that way by not removing teeth. Now, if you have too much of a discrepancy where rubber bands can't fix it with braces, then you're gonna have to go into jaw surgery, and they're very right. But also, braces are needed along with jaw surgery a lot of the time. Most people will not fill in the entire buccal corridors of those little little black triangles from side to side because some people just naturally have way wider of a jaw than others. And I personally don't think it's worth going through a jaw surgery just to get a little bit extra if you've got no issues. So in the end, yes, we do take into account as orthodontists all the things that they talked about. And yes, for most of it, braces, expanders, rubber bands, and possibly oral surgery is the way to fix it.